Breaking news, a deadly and daring Israeli Special Forces operation had just been unfolded in Khan Younis. An Israeli commando unit dressed like 9 displaced women have came in a bus, apparently a white bus, came out of the bus with the women clothing. Some of them had their faces covered, some didn't have their faces covered, with lots of equipment on the backpack. One of them looked like a pile of mattresses that actually had a box inside. What was in that box? We'll talk about this in this video as well. And stormed into a hideout of one of Hamas leaders. Based on reports that were trying to get him alive, but I guess some kind of a gunfight started and he was eliminated. And then Israel went and seized his family, his wife and kids, and took them with them. On the way, they just went and killed another arch terrorist in that area. Either they did it or some kind of fight from the helicopter. But all of this was happening with the cover of Air Force, fighter jets, helicopters, tanks, and infantry that went. And that was the mark that started this whole operation in Gaza. So let's dive in and talk about special forces stuff. Man, Israel is such a bad pussy nation. I love this country. I love our military. My name is Mansour. I'm a former Israeli Special Forces and an officer in the IDF. I'm a Druze born and raised in Israel, which means, one of the Arab ethnicities in Israel. And I'm going to try to help you break down what happened right now in Gaza. So let's just dive right in. Oh, and don't forget, like, subscribe, share, do the whole thing. It helps my channel. If you want to support my channel, go and check my Patreon. Practical, direct way to help me keep doing the work that I'm doing and giving you these kind of videos. So let's go. Early Monday morning, Israeli Special Forces launched a swift and intense raid of northern Khan Younis. The target, Ahmed Sarhan, a top commander of the El Nasser Salah ad-Din Brigade, the armed wing of Popular Resistance Committees, the armed wing of Hamas, basically, in Gaza. I'm reading to you the report here. The mission involved more than 30 air raid and artillery strikes. Combat helicopters were flying in the air. You can see in some of these videos. I'm going to keep it all in the background behind me here. Combat helicopters, tanks, special forces, snipers, everything was going to create some kind of distraction, but also to bring some kind of a shock effect. Sometimes they will attack one area, so a lot of the Mujahideen will run there, and then Israel will know to isolate that area with the support of air coverage. That's kind of, during my time was one of the things that we would do. I'm not revealing any secrets here. It's done with many militaries in the world, and any numbskull that will read a little bit will know what I'm talking about. Ground troops moved in. The goal was capture Sarhan alive, but during the firefight, he was killed. His wife and children were taken into Israeli custody. Perhaps he had some crucial information about the hostages, undoubtedly about the operations of Hamas. Israel is intensifying its operation right now in Gaza to a whole new level. Up until now, Israel was dealing with Gaza with silk gloves. Believe it or not, if you want to see Israel using more power, check Lebanon and Syria. See how fast they destroyed almost the entire army of Syria, and see how fast they dismantled Hezbollah. With Gaza, they were working very, very surgically because of the hostages, and now they're just pitching it up to a whole new level. And oh boy, the Gazans are about to feel the might of the IDF. Let's just say they're in for a show. Now, what kind of information can they bring from him dead? Quite a lot of information, be surprised or not. Unless he's using pigeons to fly messages, and maybe they'll catch some of these pigeons before they fly, but most likely he's gonna have phones, books, book recording keeping, etc., and a lot of information on him. Hopefully. To remind you, we're on the side of the good guys here, and you want the hostages freed, and every operation like this holds a great potential to help bring Israel a closer step to bringing these hostages back home and eliminating Hamas. Both are really good things. Undercover infiltration. Here's the wild part. Reports say that Israeli special forces disguised themselves as displaced Palestinian women carrying mattresses to hide their weapons. They moved through the city posing as civilian, bypassing Hamas surveillance. To remind you, from my time when I served in Gaza, when I served in the West Bank, when I walked the whole desert of Jordan, if there's one thing about the Arabs in that region, they're extremely suspicious. Any new person that will walk in will immediately be welcomed with hostility, with a lot of suspicion, and they will start asking you, من وين أنت رايح لوين رايح فين شو اسم أبوك شو اسم أمك, what's your name, what's your name of father, where are you coming from? Any slip of a tongue of a dialect, and it's so hard to master these dialects, will get you probably lynched or kidnapped and interrogated, and then later on lynched, even if you haven't done anything. They do that to their own people so often. Israel knew that they have to operate really, really fast. What kind of unit would hold these kind of capabilities? Well, in Israel, most likely on this kind of mission, I would say probably was Yamam, because I don't think they had too much talking to do. They went to fight. And when you want the unit that is best at fighting, that's undoubtedly in Israel, Yamam. It could have been Sayeret Matkal, which is the Israeli Delta Force, or Green Berets, you can call them. They're also highly skilled, highly intelligent individuals that have similar capabilities that can pull up an operation like this. And it also could have been the Mistarvim. Mistarvim is this Fauda unit. Some of you might have seen the show. By the way, I'm going to be playing in season 5 of Fauda. I don't know if I said that before, but I'm breaking it out here. I'm flying next month to Israel to play a role in that season. Crazy story. They contacted me out of nowhere. I'm gonna be there. Fauda is a unit that train its people to infiltrate Muslim Arab countries in our neighboring environment in the Middle East. And they learn the dialect, they learn the culture, they go and they live among them, they work among them. And when they're operated, they go right in and just take down targets, kidnap, or rescue people. Highly trained, highly skilled, very deadly warriors. So I'm just guessing it must have been one of these three units. Now, it might have been others, but that's my guess from the top, from my hip. Let's do it that way. We will be hearing more about it in days to come. Maybe even while I'm doing this video, you'll be hearing more things, and you can leave that in the comment and share with the audience. So the Special Forces disguised as women had this backpack full of mattresses that are left behind. I guess there were others that didn't leave behind. Maybe that was just too clumsy from the pictures that you see. It's not very easy to run in tunnels with something so big and, go fall backwards and I don't know what. You want to turn a corner. You don't want that on you. So you're immediately going to drop it. You're going to be dressed probably like a woman, and they just drop it, grab your weapon out of this, dress that they're wearing, and go start operating. From the looks of it, it could have contained either weapons that they needed, ammunition, all kind of stuff, but it could have also contained a canine dog. It looks like a cage for a dog in some aspects. And I can tell you, these dogs are highly trained. Some of you might say, yeah, but a dog is going to bark and make some noise. And oh boy, no. I've trained one time with these dogs. I remember I was climbing a ladder into a building on the third floor, and there were bad guys in that building, and there was a balcony, and I had a dog with me on the backpack. And as I was climbing, I got, from the snipers. They told me there's no one in the window right now, and now as you go, I put the dog on the balcony, and then me and the dog are crawling right now on the window while there's people right next to us. I remember the dog was a bit excited, and he was breathing like this. And I called the operator and I told him, listen, the dog's making a lot of noise. Can you do something about it? And I kid you not, the operator was about a few hundred meters away behind a wall in a van, and the dog had an earpiece. And he called the dog and he told him to hold his breath. And the dog just went, and not only that, he even clenched his fingers like this, so his fingernails are not going to scratch the floor. And he looked at me. And me and the dog had a bonding moment right there. I mean, I looked at him, looked at me, and I felt like, is he gonna start talking to me? Is he gonna go Scooby-Doo on me and tell me, amigo, you're making too much noise, come on? Because he became more silent than me. And when they gave the go, we went inside, and the dog was super professional. He knew exactly who are the targets, who are the innocent. They can smell. They can smell who's an alpha male in the room. There's a lot of things I can't tell, but this is quite obvious. So they can smell who's an alpha male in the room and who is a victim, who is terrified. And usually the terrorists are the alpha male, the hostages are, the terrified people. The only challenge is when you enter that room with a terrorist, they're not the alpha males anymore. You become the alpha male, and that can change the dynamics. So there's also a lot of tactics and training to know how to override that challenge, but these dogs are vicious. So it might have been a dog, because dogs in an operation like this are so important. First, for identifying IEDs. They can smell them, they can spot them, identify enemies, weapons, and etc. Also, it's sad to say, but if you're standing outside of a door and there's bad guys pointing their guns at the door waiting for you, if you go in first, you're getting shot. If the dog goes in first, he's faster, he's smaller, he might be able to get them to pull their triggers towards the dog, and then you go in, take them down immediately. So it's a tactic that is used by the special forces, and it does put the dog's life more at danger. Israel treats this dog so humanely. I've met some of my friends that were in that dog unit. One time I was going back to my base near Tel Aviv, and there was this guy that was sitting next to me in the bus, and I asked him, where are you going? He says, for a funeral of a teammate. And immediately I felt like, oh man, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, and I hope you're okay. And then as I was talking to the guy, my heart is pouring, and I'm like literally feeling for this guy who just lost his brother in arms. Somewhere half through the conversation, I realized he's talking about a dog. But he didn't even tell me. He referred to him as if it was a human. So these dogs are highly trained, and their contribution is just amazing. So anyway, I'm thinking maybe there was a dog in it, maybe not. Just, throwing from my experience so you can get the image of what's happening. They moved through the city, posing as civilians, bypassing Hamas surveillance. When we say Hamas surveillance, not only do they have cameras all around and they're hiding in the tunnels, watching what's happening, and then they know to come from behind Israeli forces and shoot an RPG or I don't know what, they also have the entire population there is their surveillance. The problem with Gaza is not Hamas, it's the Gazans. A lot of the Gazans are Hamas. Now, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them are, and undoubtedly they're supporting them. Hence is why we haven't seen almost any Israeli hostage been freed by a Gazan. They're not helping in that aspect. In Nazi Germany, we've seen quite a lot of stories of Germans who risked their life and saved Jews. In Gaza, we're barely seeing anything. And what happened there, from the little kids all the way to the adults, when they see someone that smells fishy, they're gonna call immediately and report him. And they're so paranoid about Israel, the Mossad, the Shabak, the special forces. So they had to bypass all of these checkpoints, call them, until they got to the target. And that's where they will reveal their identity. A funny thing, when you're dressed as a woman behind enemy line in Muslim countries, what they usually do, they take a lot of former Russian or Ukrainian Israeli soldiers because they have, kind of more white skin and maybe brighter eyes. And they do a lot of makeup, dress and look like a woman. And then people that look like me, they kind of, we look like Jafar anyway. So we just fit in right to the stereotypes. They give us the clothes, the cigarette, and we start behaving like the Arabs in the Middle East, which is, it's very easy for people like me to behave like that because I am an Arab from the Middle East. So, intel or hostage, what was the reason that they went to capture him? And you can ask, why risk such a bold move? This is 9 of your guys, your top people in your country that are behind enemy lines right now, risking their life. And if things go sideways, they're probably not going to come out of there alive. Or even worse, they're going to be held hostages, which is a huge price for the hand of Hamas and a big blow for Israel. So there's a lot of risk in allowing an operation like that to happen. So why? The mission aimed to extract intelligence from Sarhan, but some sources say that this was also an attempt to rescue Israeli hostages. This is coming from the Lebanese and other news sources in the Arab world, Al Jazeera and etc. The IDF hasn't confirmed any changes in the hostage situation, but the rumors are flying. Now, it could have been, and they didn't find the hostages, so they killed them. There's so many things that we might or might not know about it in the next few days. Palestinian sources claim that Mahdi Kawara, a Hamas battalion commander, was also killed during a strike. At least 6 people are reported dead, many more injured, and some of the strikes hit close to Nasser Hospital, raising concern among medics and civilians alike. It's extremely complicated to operate in Gaza when you have a terrorist group that literally kidnapped an entire nation and is using everything there as human shields. Hospitals, schools, kindergartens, humans, houses, everything there. It's very, very complicated. And I can tell you, when this operation probably happened, to rescue the special unit, to have them leave out, they might have taken the body with them, or at least, finger from the body and a few pictures. To go out of there becomes the most dangerous part. Not necessarily the going in and fighting. The going out, because now you're exposed. Now you need to fight your way out to the rendezvous point, either a helicopter or a boat or a fast armored vehicle that will take you out. That's the good case. Sometimes you're just going to have to steal a vehicle and use it to drive out and reach your border with a lot of bullet holes in the vehicle. All these things have happened in the IDF. So a lot of time what they do, the Air Force will give them some kind of a corridor. I call it like departing the Red Sea. They will open a corridor for them using helicopters, jet fighter planes, drones, just to get anyone out of there. Putting like a firewall for them to drive through it, giving them information on the spot, turn left, turn right. There's a blockade here, a blockade there. Crazy stuff. There's a crazy story of an Israeli legendary Mistarev from that Fauda unit. After they eliminated a terrorist in Gaza, I think it was in Gaza, when they were driving out, there were a few Toyotas of the terrorists that were chasing them in the street and shooting at them. And he was driving front with his guys. And as they turned one of the roads and they were driving full speed, they suddenly saw a blockade of a few cars with everybody with heavy machine guns waiting for them, about to shoot them dead. So what he did, in a quick thinking, he pulled himself out of the window and he shouted in Arabic, "Jesh min warai," the military is behind me. And he started shouting. What they did, they opened the barricade, he drove through, they closed it down, and they start shooting their own friends, killing their own friends. Brilliant, crazy, brave move that came on the spot. And that's why, that's literally the definition of being in the special forces. Outside of special forces, you might not see these skills in someone. He might see you like a normal guy or someone that, I don't see him pulling that out. But it's these moments, how you can handle extreme situations, stay calm, quick thinking, killer instincts. That's what make a very, very unique and deadly special forces operator. And they don't look usually like you imagine. Usually they look like an average person. I mean, obviously fit and they know how to carry themselves, but let's just say they don't look like Dwayne The Rock Johnson or some of these bodybuilders. Usually they don't look like that. This was an isolated incident. The operation is part of a broader campaign, Operation Gideon Chariots, Kavod Gideon, which include extensive ground activity across Gaza. 5 Israeli divisions are currently active in the Strip, and I'm going to make a video about that in general. It looks like Israel is about to go and conquer Gaza with that amount of firepower and manpower. Meanwhile, Israel's security cabinet has decided to continue delivering humanitarian aid to Gaza despite the fact that Hamas have reportedly exploited those very same aid routes. Israel also sent, not during the special operation, that was like the starting mark to start the whole Gideon operation. But after that, Israel went and gave clear instructions, actually doing that in other areas, to evacuate the areas that are going to have combat. So Israel is again trying to warn the Gazans, anyone who doesn't want to be caught in the line of fire, as we come to rescue our hostages and to eliminate Hamas, a terrorist organization that is sworn to destroy the state of Israel and keep saying they want to do October 7 again and again and again. If you don't want to be caught there, get out of there. But this seems to be a big one. Big one. This high-stake game of intelligence, military precision, and psychological warfare, disguised hostage rescue rumors, and elite units operating deep inside enemy territory, and the whole firepower that is coming right now at Gaza is a clear indication that the conflict in Gaza have entered a new phase. And there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff coming out of there. Probably a lot of similar stories like that, because like I said, Israel seems to have taken the gloves off, and they're going right now to bring back the hostages and destroy anything that stands in their way between them and the hostages, as it should be. If you're a father of a house and someone breaks into your house, kill your children, kidnap your wife and your babies, you would go through hell to bring them back, and you will destroy anyone that will stand in your way. That is your job as a father, to stand to protect your family. Your family is the first core, that is you. And then later on, your city, your country, and etc., etc., your political affiliation, I don't know what. But if someone hurts your family, you need to go and eliminate that threat. And that's what Israel is doing right now. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful and educational. I'm trying to bring you, from my experience, a better picture of what's happening, who is who and what is what. I'd highly appreciate if you hit the like, subscribe, share. And like I said in the beginning, if you want to find a direct way to support my channel, because after all, I'm doing this for free and out of my own free time, then go and check my Patreon, where you can find direct, practical way to support my work. But until then, guys, don't do anything stupid. And in general, don't mess with Israel. That's a good tip. Oh, the mic is here. I hope that the audio is good. That's why I keep saying don't do anything stupid. In general, just don't do anything that I would do, which is not having the mic on you while you're making a video. That's going to be a headache in the editing room. See you next time.